Okay. 3 viewers waiting. Boom. What? I must have changed my stream key. That's fine. Is that the same link I had last time? I wonder if I just have a set link. Yeah, well, I had to change the, no. If you've never streamed before, it's going to be like speaking a whole other language. So never mind. But it was, for some reason I'm there and they gave me the code, so that's a thing. Okay. You guys see the vote in the chat? Here's Rob. We had 3 people waiting, and now we just have Rob in here. Rob, are you 3 people? Oh, someone did already vote. Or is that me voting? Mm. Awesome. Should be good. Not gonna worry too much about it now. Now at least I know it's working. Honestly, like streaming would be just so much smoother if like you had like 10 people just like always show up like right away. You don't have to like send links or anything. Like it'd be super, like it'd be super obvious when you don't things aren't working. Anyway, I was reading some devotionals, and you guys were here in spirit. At least for me, it was. You guys were here in spirit. If you guys have any tough theological questions or looking for resources to anything, are you just wondering about trying to understand a passage, or how do we tackle certain types of passages? I just want to pick my brain. Let me know in the chat. What's up, Mira? What? You've seen this one. This is the Jehovah shirt. It's actually wearing. It's one of the shirts I've thought about wearing to work, but I'm like, no, maybe. Um, yeah. So we can, we can read about politics and get John Piper's view on politics. It's kind of like a spark answer responses to interesting little debates. Or we can read about a apologetic defense of and understanding why Isaiah's composition and why it seems like there's 2 different halves to it. And is that a problem for us as Christians? Oh, none of these are black. All my pens, none of them are. None of these are black. Got, and I didn't even have a pen for church this morning. I don't know, they must be going missing. It's alright. As far as like what's on my bookshelf, just finished I Still Do by Dave Harvey. This is a book that I would recommend. I'll show you these guys too. I would recommend to individuals who have been married for at least 5 years. If you haven't been married, or you're not married, or you haven't been married long, then there's going to be a little there's going to be a time before this really becomes applicable to you. Because really, to summarize what this marriage book is about, it's talking about like key defining moments here. So it says growing closer and stronger through life's defining moments. So by defining moments, he's talking about like emptiness, like your kids have moved out, your spouse is sick and suffering, um, you know, change in the sex life, and a bunch of other different things. And just like moments in marriage when things change or become really hard, being able to get through those hard moments. So it's just helping you um, understand a good Christian response to dealing with that. And while you guys are still voting on that poll, here's some pictures. Actually, let me just do this in 2 different networks. Here is a picture of me and my 3rd child at one of these photo booths yesterday. It's like a little arcade place at a bowling place. And my mother-in-law's birthday. And then here's me trying to get the baby to do the photo booth. And she didn't quite understand it. I had those photos from yesterday. At any point, if you guys have prayer requests or want to share anything, go ahead and jump in the chat. An update on us. I posted about this in the Discord chat there, but I guess to say a little bit more, if anyone's interested in more details to it. The government came, like we had some taxes that were owed, and so the government has seized part of our bank account. So just pray that everything would just recover smoothly and we'd have what we need as we wait for my bank to send off the money that's being requested, and then for our account to grow back up and recover from that nonsense. So, which, I'm not so much worried about, but my wife definitely lost some sleep over all of it. So, all right. Let me rearrange these windows. So, as Pastor John, people want to hear about politics. You can go ahead and end that vote. You can jump into that. And if you guys have any links to Reddit post or little clips or YouTubes or anything you guys want me to comment on, or passages. We have officially found the KJV only people on the Discord through the Why I Don't Suggest You Read the KJV. So they've come out of the woodwork. Alright. You can find that on the Discord there. Alright. So again, this is John Piper. This is adapted from John Piper's podcast. Frankie pulled the information from the podcast, kind of reworked it to be into a book format. So, just as an introduction, on church, state, and politics. Christ entered into the world as a uh, as a figurative sword to divide. He comes into the world as the supreme beauty and supreme joy and supreme value of the universe. Quotes Matthew 10:34 through 39 there. And he comes with absolute supreme authority. Therefore, he claims in every family and in every business, in every school, and in every church, in every political party, and every nation, a supreme allegiance, a superior love. And so, with the sword of his supremacy, he cuts every affection and every allegiance to family or business or school or church or political party or nation which would compete with him for supreme place in our hearts. Decisions of eternal consequence play out every moment. Pastor John witnessed the weight of this truth early in life. This is what he says. My father's prayers when I was a little boy were laden with the glory of God. Bill Piper's life and ministry witnessed to the fallen creation of God and a desperate need of rescue by the gospel. In other words, I grew up in a home with big things going on. The home was not about the latest TV show. It wasn't about the latest political shenanigans. It was about the latest rescue from hell for heaven, for the glorious God who made the universe, who existed for his own glory. On theocracy. No single nation carries out God's work on earth. God no longer works through a people who are a political state or an ethnic entity to perform his kingdom spreading, saving work. More particularly, he no longer deals with Israel as an embodiment ethnically and politically of his kingdom on earth. He is giving the kingdom to the people who produce its fruits, namely the Church of Jesus Christ. And since God works through his Spirit by his word in a people called the Church, they have no status as a political state, and they have no singular ethnic identity. In Christ, God no longer works as a king exerting immediate authority over a people gathered as a political state or a single ethnic identity. So the churches mark a dramatic change from the old theocratic ethnic orientation on one people group, namely Israel, to a new kind of people who are not a political entity and not an ethnic entity ruled by a political or governmental leader. Instead, they are a people scattered like exiles away from heaven, their homeland, on the earth, mingling among all the ethnic groups of the world with a king in heaven and not on earth. The church doesn't function like Israel did as a national or political government agency. Therefore, it doesn't coerce its beliefs with the sword. This change affects the civic role of the Mosaic Law. The laws which dealt with Israel as a state and are no longer applied that way, since the people of God are no longer a political entity. God now works in the world through his church. For example, the excommunication protocols of the New Testament church replace the execution protocols of the Old Testament Israel. And Jesus declares all food clean, meaning those laws which once defined Israel as a people of ethnic, religious, and political distinction from the world don't function that way anymore. So, yeah. It reminds me of how in the parable, where is that? Do you guys know where that is? The parable, Matthew? You know, where the master sends out invites, and then the people have excuses of why they don't come or whatever, and then he invites more and more people, right? He just invites people off the streets. Where is that? Where is that parable? Let's see. Unforgiving servant, lost sheep. It's not the laborers in the vineyard, isn't it? Isn't it the banquet? I think it's the parable of wedding feast. Here we go. Tell those who are invited, see, I have prepared my dinner, and my oxen and my fat calves have been slaughtered, and everything is ready. Matthew 22, by the way. Come to the wedding feast. But they paid no attention and went off, one to his own farm, another to his business. While the rest seized his servants, treated them shamefully, and killed them. The king was angry, and he sent his troops and destroyed those murderers and burned their cities. And he said to his servants, the wedding feast is ready, but those invited were not worthy. Go therefore to the main roads, invite to the wedding feast as many as you find. And those servants went out to the roads and gathered all whom they had found, both good and bad, so the wedding hall was filled with guests. But the king came to look at the guests. He saw there was a man who had no wedding garment, and he said to him, Friend, how did you get in here without a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then the king said to the attendants, Bind him hand and foot and cast him into the outer darkness, that place where will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. So, yeah. And then you have the phrase was lost sheep of Israel. Where's that from? I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. See, this is one of those passages where people really, verse 24, people really struggle with this one. Because some people would say, well, then he only came for Jews. They use this verse to say he only came for the Jews. Trying to find out where the 24. Okay, here. Canaanite woman from the region came out and was crying, Have mercy on me, O Lord, son of David. My daughter is severely oppressed by a demon, but he did not answer her a word. His disciples came and begged him, saying, Send her away, for she is crying out after us. He answered, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But she came and knelt before him, saying, Lord, help me. He answered, It is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. And she said, Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. Then Jesus answered her, O woman, great is your faith. Be it done for you as you have desired. And her daughter was healed instantly. Yeah, I'm going to just take that phrase, that, to mean that only Israel gets saved. It's really weird. The Old Testament and New Testament both have references to the Gentiles to be a blessing to all nations. Old Testament's a little vaguer, but New Testament's pretty explicit. Even Peter struggled with the inclusion of the Gentiles, and then Paul and them had to combat the whole becoming a Jew before becoming a Christian kind of understanding, and that wasn't the case either. That's the thing. That's what Piper's getting at. Is the whole the Jewishness still remains because it all was pointing to Christ, and it all still has a lot of it still has value for us in understanding and in practice. But this whole identity of God, having a nation right now on earth, is no longer the case. Because think about the complexity that this would have. Let's just say for a moment that Israel is still God's people, and you started seeing miracles and the Jews, God being with the Jews again, in the same way He was in the Old Testament, and everything. It'd be super odd, right? For Him to go back to emphasizing the nation and not the nations. People would fall away from Christianity and thinking, well, it's then Israel was the is the ends of it all or whatever, which isn't the case. So like it's the silence on Israel's part on having prophets and miracles and continued revelation and stuff is a huge indicator um, that like what some people would call dispensation um, is over. Like this revelation, his means of doing things has shifted to the nations or whatever instead. So I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that? I mean, clearly we would agree, right, that there's no nation Christian. We wouldn't say that there's a nation that is Christian and that God is behind them and the rest are not. There's that definitely doesn't exist. Though I'm sure some people have tried to start up revolutions and stuff to try to claim some kind of title in that regards. I'm going to get up and get a drink while you guys type any response that you guys have and any thoughts of this. The parable I went to doesn't feel like one for one, but I think it is. Like the picture is that God has invited. He's gone beyond Israel now. He's gone beyond his people. Open the conversation up. Let's see. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the Old Testament, you could probably hide you could ignore and probably hide the hints at, or try to argue away the blessings that and the fact that it's going to go to all nations and that kind of thing. The Jews didn't see that for the longest time, right? I mean, they were there, but they didn't understand it like that. But the New Testament is explicit. Like to try to hide, the fact that it's all nations would be a huge endeavor. All right, revolutions. Christ came to bring a sword division into the world, but Paul commands us to live quiet lives. So do Christians trigger revolutions or work in silence? This isn't a simple Jesus versus Paul tension. Jesus drove out money changers, and Jesus told us to turn the other cheek. These two texts leave us with a puzzle. Paul called the church to live quietly and to mind your affairs and to work with your hands as we instructed you. The same church struggled with lazy people meddling in other people's affairs, 2 Thessalonians. Some of the church seemed to be idlers, lazy, not working for a living, mooching off of others, and bringing the church in the name of Jesus into dispute among outsiders. The quietness that Paul had in mind seems to be the opposite of bothersome talk when you're hanging around others who are trying to do their work and you aren't doing any work. All you are is talk. Instead, says Paul, get to work, support yourself, and stop making Christianity look like the birthplace of laziness. Perhaps these meddling Christians had quit working, assuming that Christ's return was soon. In any case, the quietness Paul envisions is the opposite, or it flows from focused, diligent, gainful employment. If you are laying bricks all day, or digging a ditch, or winnowing grain, then you are not a nuisance, gating about and gossiping about other people while they're trying to work. So did Paul contradict his quiet life principle by preaching Christ and inciting a riot in Ephesus in Acts 19? No, Paul's main concern in Thessalonica was that the saints walk in love and that they truly exalt Christ in the community. So the outsiders we see, I think it's so as the outsiders we see he's really what he's really like. That's ministry. And if ministry causes a riot, so be it. Let's be sure any public uproar is ignited by our love to people and exaltation of Christ. Let's be sure any public uproar is ignited by our love to people and exaltation of Christ. What are you guys doing? Well, I told you to wake her up. Next section is on patriotism in the sanctuary and pastors in politics. A Sunday church gathering should be wonderfully and gloriously vertical in its focus. We gather to focus on God, but those gatherings can get horizontally hijacked by other good things. Community life, art, drama, children, evangelism, concerts, or political activism. If the Godward focus gets lost, Sunday becomes man-centered and the vertical focus is blunted. We need political activism, but not on Sunday morning. The Pledge of Allegiance, even American flags, do not belong in a worship service that is called to highlight the absolute allegiance that we have to Jesus. Pastors who lead overly patriotic churches can reframe the focus over the years and decades. Number 1. Preach the Lordship of Christ. Patiently, week in and week out, preach Bible-saturated, God-centered, Christ-exalting, man-humbling sermons. The implication: so elevate the Lordship of Christ over every detail of life with such majesty that little by little the church begins to absorb the mindset that our highest affections and our only absolute allegiance belongs to Jesus Christ. Willingly, eagerly, joyfully, no regrets, no restraint. Number 2. Be open about your discomfort with fellow leaders, because until you get some of them on board with you, any change is probably going to be futile and may be destructive. 3. Communicate gratitude to military veterans in the church. Let them know that you love them and appreciate their sacrifices. See if a few of them will affirm your vision and help redirect the church's Sunday focus. In light of militaristic valor, celebrate the missional courage of those who lived and died not to advance the American way, but to advance an even greater way. Remove flags from the sanctuary, put flags in common areas, the places where people transition from the world into worship, and then transition from worship back into the world. Such buffers don't excuse pastors from cultural awareness. Pastors must address at least the few issues from the news that seem particularly urgent and major. Use these few issues to discipline your people on how to think of social issues. Address the issues not as a politician, but as a pastor. Aiming to show how to think and pray and act from the roots of things. The roots of human nature, the root of biblical revelation. Pastor, go deep with your Bible and and with human nature, because those two topics are your bread and butter and expertise and what people most need from you. The government exists to punish evil and praise good. And when a nation's leaders get these duties backwards, praising evil and punishing good, the church speaks up. Yes, the disposition of a Christian should be to support and be submissive to governments, local governments and national governments. This is part of God's will. On the other hand, we should, in writing, in speaking, and in conversation, I would include preaching in all of this, publicly confront governors and presidents who do not punish evil and do not praise good, especially when we reverse the pattern and notice that they are starting participating in a very evil they are supposed to punish. For example, this conviction was on display 4 years earlier. It regales me that in front of his daughters, the President Barack Obama would say that equal rights for women means that they must have access to abortion, which really means equal rights to have sex outside of marriage without any more consequences than the man has. That is what he means, which is horrific to say and worthy of public rebuke. But in a world driven by politically correctness at every level, from gender studies, public school instructions, media reportings, and even Bible translations, don't be surprised if our public rebuke of sin gets interpreted as a political move, particularly when it comes to celebrating the biblical truth on sexuality and gender. The world will charge us with partisan motives. There will always be people who twist what you say to have connotations and implications that you don't want to have and didn't intend. That's exactly the way people treated the preaching of Jesus, and it got him killed. The day is long gone in America where it is possible to publicly faithful as a Christian to the truth of God and not be excoriated. Here's the clear difference. Our political voice should be so permeated by the announcement of the horrors of divine wrath over the human race and the glories of the gospel of divine rescue and the unsearchable riches of Christ, the ruler of the nations, and the demand for repentance and faith from every citizen and every politician, so permeated with all of that it is evident to all that political concerns for the true Christian fade into mist compared to these vastly greater realities. In general, the pastor can celebrate the works of Christians in politics and can extract himself from ongoing political discussions online. So I am the 100 times more passionate about creating Christians in churches that will be faithful, biblical, countercultural, and spiritually minded in this socialistic America, in a Muslim America, and in a communist America than I am in preventing a Muslim America or a communist America. That puts me in a very different ballpark than many public voices. My main calling is not to help America be anything, but to help the church be the church. I want to help the church be the radical outpost of the kingdom of Christ, no matter what kind of America it happens to be, or any other people group or country in the world. On Inauguration Day 2017, Pastor John prayed for the salvation and protection of Donald Trump. He prayed for the church and the work of the gospel. Quote, I pray for evangelical leaders not to celebrate Donald Trump's presidency with no apparent qualification, no tears, no brokenness, no sadness, that he set such an awful example for this land. But considering the rise and fall of American presidents, our mission is rooted in something greater. Lord, don't let us exhaust our energies fighting with the little molehill of his presidency when we have a Himalayan mountain range of blessings in Christ. Then he prayed over the staff at Desiring God, that together we might make the greatest possible impact to spread a passion for your supremacy, not American supremacy or Trump supremacy or Republican or Democrat supremacy. May it always feel like a heavenly orientation rather than earthly orientation. There you go. I have a longer one. Patriotism in the sanctuary and pastors and politics. So this has been, I think, and this is a really hard line, I think, for pastors to navigate. I think, like ultimately, it can be really easy to like have some political issue that you want to talk about. But there are times when it's perfect to talk about. So here, let me pull this up here. Let's go back. Yeah. Okay. Here you go. It's on the right hand side of the screen. So, so this is, if we're going through Exodus, and this came up in our conversation because of the text, and so like you can't avoid this conversation. Now the issue with some people, let's say you're pro-choice, right? You'd get to this passage and you would you'd completely ignore the fact that this in multiple ways is addressing abortion as an issue. Whereas if you believe that abortion is an issue, then this text is very clear. Okay. Then the king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, one of whom was named Sephora and the other Pua. Notice that these are actually named. King of Egypt doesn't actually have his name here. I'll tell you something. When you serve as midwives to the Hebrew women and to see them in the birth stool, if it is a son, you shall kill him. If it is a daughter, she shall live. Right? So the birth stool is an object where the baby would be born on. And be like the equivalent of the birthing beds that we have now. Right? So if it's a boy, kill him. This is a really horrible qualifier, right? Like this is the kind of qualifiers that we have today in the abortion industry now, where maybe the baby's skin color is the wrong color, or they don't have the right athletic gene, or they have a mutated gene and they're going to have some slightly abnormal behavior, or they have difficulty, or maybe they're missing a limb, right? So there's a characteristic. This is a boy, got a little Pee Wee Herman, and get that, kill him. But the midwives feared God, okay, and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them. Okay, so this is where we see you obey God rather than man, right? But they let the male children live. So the king of Egypt called the midwives and said to them, "Why have you done this and let the male children live?" The midwives said to Pharaoh, "Because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and give birth before the midwives come to them." All right. So God dealt well with the midwives. Okay. So the interpretation and understanding this is disagreed upon. You know, one of the answers to this is that they are being truthful and they're vigorous, but the midwives went and told the Hebrew women, do not call us until the very last minute, basically forcing them to be late, so that they didn't have to kill the boys. You gotta remember, they don't have ultrasounds, they don't know if it's a boy or a girl, right? So you're waiting for the baby to come out and then you're murdering them. This is, equivalent fourth trimester, if you want to say it, fourth trimester abortion, right? Waiting for them to come out and then killing them. But God dealt well with them for this happening, right? Where they're not killing the babies, even if you believe that they're lying here, right? And say, oh, well, better to lie than to murder, would be the argument there if you think they're lying. Obviously, God's response is at least positive, at least to some extent. The people multiplied greatly and grew strong, and because the midwives feared God, he gave them families. So again, we see a blessing to these people because of their fear of God. Then Pharaoh commanded all his people, every son that is born to the Hebrews you shall cast into the Nile, but you shall let every daughter live. So then, right, you can't cast into the Nile what hasn't already come out. And so the whole thing was, if we can't kill them right as they come out, then if you get caught with any baby that's a boy, then they're to be thrown into the Nile. So this would be, if they found them even a month later or whatever, they would. Now this becomes super important in understanding Moses, right? When Moses comes on the scene, because his mother casts him into the Nile, so she's obedient, puts him into the Nile, but she puts him in what in the English is called a basket, but it's the same word in Genesis for the ark, right? So she's obedient to put him into the Nile, and then Pharaoh's daughter finds the baby, loves the baby, and then gives the baby back to the actual mother because doesn't know that it's actually her kid, and she ends up being given the responsibility and money to take care of the child until it's of age, and then given back to Pharaoh's. So he actually grows up in Pharaoh's house. Anyway, so she's obedient in putting him into the Nile, but she does so in a way that he actually lives and doesn't actually die. So, yeah. So this is a good example. This Exodus 1 is a good example of a passage when you're expositionally preaching and going verse by verse through a text where this conversation is going to come up, right? And should be discussed. And again, you have to do gymnastics to kind of get away from understanding it that way. So that's a narrative that does it. But again, you can there's Psalm 139, right, and then a bunch of other psalms and Jesus' teachings and everything, or just the value of babies. You can see the birth narratives is also a huge argument where they're filled from the Spirit from the womb, which I think actually infant baptism uses as part of their argument, as the Holy Spirit can be within a child before being born. But anyway, yeah. So there's a bunch of different passages where this conversation would naturally happen. I think that for pastors it was very difficult. In some cases, if you want to address the topic, you'd have to kind of jump out of a routine and go to a specific text, I think, to be faithful to it. You don't want, this like political conversation to come up as a bullet point in your sermon when the sermon has nothing to do with, that topic. So, but I appreciate John Piper's kind of balance of it. Like it should be talked about when it needs to be talked about, but the other end of the spectrum is to just completely avoid political heightened issues in conversations, and that's not fair either, because while we're not called to establish some Christian kingdom here on earth, we are to live in light of a heavenly kingdom, right? Even the Lord's Prayer, right? Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So, His kingdom come, His will be done. All that stuff. Any thoughts on that? Pushback? Disagreement? I think we might pause on the Ask Pastor John stuff there. Next section is called On Global Mission and Narrowed Nationalism. Patriotic Christians voting for degenerate politicians. Yeah, it's tough. And slavery. It's interesting on both sides of the political spectrum. I just constantly hear from people. People always feel like they're voting for like the worst of two people, which I think like should be the reality and understanding of it, regardless, right? We just understand that these two people are not qualified, are not righteous, they're not holy individuals, they're not perfect. So no matter what, as Christians, we would agree that um, they're not fit to do it. But I mean, part of the issue that we struggle with is going to be this right here, right? Where Paul says, "Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God." And it's such a balance, right? So we are to be subject to the authorities, yet we just read in Exodus 1, right, where Pharaoh is the authority, and these midwives here in verse 19 are, but in 20 it says that God dwelt well with them, even though they did not do what the king of Egypt had said. Right. So like, and that's the tension there is when we are commanded to do what is evil, then we say no, right? I mean, this is what they dealt with in Daniel, right? When Daniel's and his buddies there are thrown into, is it earlier on? That's the veggies. May I hear it? That's not. Oh, not my. Is it Daniel? No. What am I thinking of? Oh, I thought it was Daniel. That's a lion's den. How am I getting this wrong? What was Bendigo? Oh gosh, if I knew the spelling of their names. Yeah, Shadrach, Meshach, Bendigo. I'm really looking for the fiery furnace. Maybe it is right there. It can't be. It's gotta be near the end. No. What's the fiery furnace? Oh, spelling. chapter 3. I just kept missing it. If I thought it was, they did not. They weren't. See, this threw me off. Golden image, because he gets caught. That was the issue of them praying, not the. Not gonna worship it. Yeah. So anyway, this being thrown to the fiery furnace here is a good narrative as well, where you refuse to worship idols and refuse to stop praying and all that, and then your disobedience. They have a pretty strong saying here. Here it is. O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you on this matter. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. Right? So it's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of Christians, I think, that struggle with this idea of disobeying authorities. Like this is the whole issue with the COVID vaccine, right? Where, it's like, well, you have to take it. Like, we're forcing you to take it, right? Where people were like losing their jobs, and it's a pretty huge impact. I don't think people realize, like, when people said no to it, like there was a lot of punishment, like across the board in a bunch of different ways that was coming down on people. So, I mean, this is a reality in our daily lives. This isn't just something that just like happens now and again. Like, there's a lot of stuff where we have to just say no, I think, to just bad legislation, that kind of thing. So, more often than not, we don't hear the other side, where, like Piper talked about, praising what is good. Typically when good doesn't get praised, you don't see an uproar. It's when evil that does get praised is where people kind of have uproar. But we should also, like the whole, there's so many people that are like spinning the whole conversation about the shot against that clipped Trump's ear or whatever, and people just don't want to see it as an act of God that he's still alive or whatever. Um, all I can say is, like, none of that adds up. none of that adds up, and it's like, in my opinion, it's just so obviously, like, you see stuff where I believe God deserves praise. I think he should get praise, and I think there's a lot of people that were trying to spin it so that God wasn't getting any praise, and I think that's wrong. It's just very, very clear. So, gotta make sure that what is good is also being praised. So, I mean, I would encourage Christians to be more vocal on the positive things, like when Roe versus Wade got overturned, and when some of the stuff that Trump's even already put into office in this term and everything. I think we should have responded positively and been more vocal about what was actually good and celebrate what is actually good. Whereas, I think the church and Christians at large are really comfortable just sitting back and not putting their stamp on things. They don't want to be associated with certain things. People are very. We live in a day and age where people are really afraid to be known for standing for things. Like they're afraid to like the wrong post or to follow the wrong people, because we're afraid of what people are going to think about us or whatever, or sharing a certain person's video, or what if my family members that aren't Christians, what are they going to think if I share this sermon clip or whatever? Like there's so much like things that we should be celebrating and things that are good that we just refuse to celebrate because we're afraid people like are gonna think negatively of us because we celebrate things that they don't celebrate. It's ridiculous. I think at large Christians just don't refuse. They refuse to celebrate most things now because politically a lot of that stuff's divisive. Puts you on one side or the other. So, what are you guys' thoughts? There's 5 people in here. Man, that is awesome. We got Rob, probably Neuro. Neuro might still be here. Let me know you guys are here in the chat. Let me know what passages in scripture you've been reading. Let me know if you're reading any good books or you have any book suggestions. Do you guys have any stream topics or discussions that you think would be good to be had? Let me pull up this. Let me give a shout out to this.
I made over 6 figures trading without.
Oh, 6 figures. Whoa. Let's see. Y'all need to put some what are they called? Tags in your guys' video. Really? Let me just pull up the link. It'll be easier. Um, that's the wrong link. That looks like my link. I don't want to go to my link. Here you go. Here's a here's a video you guys go watch. Ponderings, wading through the waters of remarriage. It's so there's let me post. I'll put this in the chat. I was the first comment on it. Hoorah! It discusses this issue of this other channel here, this idea of perpetual sin, of remarrying, and yeah, that's pretty good. I like I said in the comment down here, like I think the things that I really enjoyed about it was the fact that it emphasizes the teaching of Jesus, the scriptures, and the big picture truths, where grace over um, legalism. It's pretty interesting. But there's that. Let's see. Anything else? You guys have any prayer requests? Anything going on this week? We've got the Monster Hunter Wilds launch on Friday, which I'm pretty sure. Let me see what the countdown timer is for Monster Hunter Wilds. Basically me, Schmal, and Neo that have the game so far. Okay. So this looks like they're making it look like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be midnight my time. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if we'll be doing midnight, boys. Might be a wake up really early Saturday morning and start playing. Yeah, probably. That'll just if I start gaming at midnight, I'm gonna be up till like 2 a.m. That's gonna just completely throw off all of my sleep schedule. Here's the countdown timer. If you want to translate it to your own local time, basically 3 hours from now. That would make it 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Actually, it'd be Friday morning, wouldn't it? Can't you hold for late night gaming? Nah. Nah. I'm not too old for late night gaming. I'm too old for getting up after late night gaming. Like, it's on the back end that I struggle. Yeah, maybe you are. Like, I mean, I can. There's been nights where I've been up till like 4 or 5 in the morning because someone on the West Coast has some deep theological conversation they want to have and they're struggling with this or that or whatever, and I'm up super late. It just goes on and on, which I don't mind. I mean, I think those conversations are definitely worth it, or if people are struggling with things, and I would just prefer to meet them where they're at when they're at it, and not like delay it or try to rush the conversation or anything like that. Start dozing off. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really doze off. I've had it a few times in the last year where I've gotten exhausted and started dozing, but not a regular thing for me. Although now that I've started getting up like pretty early, like I'm feeling it right now, which is good. I normally go in bed in about 45 minutes. So. Alrighty. Close on that. 5 p.m. caffeine. Yeah, it's understandable. Did a little bit of Worldy World earlier. It went alright. Yeah, let's play some. We'll play a game of Siege. Maybe. It's actually launching or not. Yeah, but that might be. I think that's Thursday night that it launches. Yeah. So it would be between Thursday and Friday at midnight for me. So it'd be like Friday when I get home for work would be jumping on the game or whatever. We'll see. I mean, I want to play enough that I keep up with everyone. I don't want to get. I don't want to be behind. So I'll try my best for the first few weeks. Try to keep up with people. See what happens. Definitely not a game I'm going to be able to stream because my computer's barely going to be able to run it. Might be a game where I just have to like put it on the backlog until I get a new PC, but I want to try to play it anyway. Da-da-da. Turn off follower goal. I think that's on different platform anyway. I still haven't decided what I think about the different platforms. Like, I like the idea of Facebook. I don't mind like family and friends joining the conversation or whatever, but you know, it's whatever. Some of them could definitely use some influence, but you know how it is. Your aunt or your mom joins the chat, or your pastor who's a friend on your Facebook joins your chat. Like, oh, he's about to play a game where you shoot people. People act weird about all kinds of stuff. So I don't know. I think I like Facebook because I think with the conversations and that kind of stuff, I think there's a lot more possibility there. So I'll probably go back to that. Although YouTube's really good. If I planned on like going live and creating content, I think YouTube's a good place to kind of be able to do both in one place. You know, people that subscribe and they got you in both those things there. So if I wanted to make video content regularly, then YouTube would be the better place to stream.
Love you, black man. Gonna be good.
Alright, we don't gotta worry about that. Can't even mute this guy, he's an admin or something. I was just telling Rob earlier, I was thinking about dropping out of the Monday group. Just because I think it's just late. Well, it's late for me. And I know it's late for you, Sim, because it kind of pushes the boundaries on you staying up. But like, I don't have anything to get out of it. I'm just there for fun, so I was just debating. So I might just be switching to Friday's group, because Friday will. Yeah, it's tough though. Like, I mean, I typically like to be drinking something and like snacking and all that kind of stuff while I'm gaming, but to be doing something like high end, like raiding and like hyper focused, really like intentional, like going 100% for like 2 hours straight, and then to try to like log off and go straight to bed is can be sometimes it's kind of tough. But I haven't struggled with it the last 2 weeks, but I'm just not a fan of getting less than 6 hours of sleep. They wanted to ban Thorn, like imagine that. Echo, Doc. I'm gonna lock down the north side. So, I don't know. I'm not. I'm just kind of over Guild Wars 2, and it sucks because it's just my bread and butter. Got a lot of time and commitment to it, so for me to not be committed to it is just odd. For Rotator's sake, I hope you're not coming over here, Doc. Because I've got doors for days. Daniel in real life? There's Valkyrie. I don't want to shoot you in the back of the head, but at least I work hard today. Oh, come on. Did I need to ace them? Is that what they were looking for? They're like, oh, Stone's gonna kill all of them. Stone's gonna kill all of them. I killed 3. They wanted me to kill 4 of them. We need some rips in the chat? Rips in the chat. What kind of carry, man? Goodness. Man, to be going Nomad and Shield. Their comp was like super like perimeter setting up. I can't believe we're going the same stinking spot though. Like It looks so desperate. And then we had that guy that jumped in here.
10 seconds left.
I'm gonna go with that.
Op 4 is locating the bomb. Get ready to engage.
They're already there. You can't shoot those things? What kind of nonsense is that?
Last operator standing.
Claymore? Oh no, I've been spotted. Gonna throw a nitro out there? What if he's not even there? What if he's over here planting the bomb on site? Like... That should... I mean, we should have won the other round too. Man, we are going for all the obvious spots, huh? He's going bandit. Yeah, that's fine. I think I want to switch to a different Bible.
Protect the bombs.
I want to switch to an ESV study Bible.
Location compromised. Plan accordingly.
I have one with the note margins, but I just don't use them. There's not enough space to write how much I think you should write. The other thing is that my current Bible doesn't have any cross references, hardly.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds and counting. Op 4 has located a bomb. Ready for hostile action.
This guy's gonna totally lose the wall here. He's trying to bandit trick it, so he's listening for where they put it, and then trying to put the bandit on it. Yep. Where's my teammate in the... basement? This crappy setup in here. And he lost basement wall? Dude, this is why I hate people. Like, I just can't stand certain playstyles on certain maps. I'm just like, y'all, for all risk, no gain. You have to like cover multiple angles. That's a glass. I hear him, but I don't know where he is. This guy has to come in to play it. Oh my gosh, and he gives me a headshot. Okay. Boom. Look in the wrong place, and they got a flick headshot. Look at that. He didn't even look in the right place. Nah, bruh. Do I drone? I mean, did they, like, know where I was? Like, I don't understand. My team is expecting just a little too much from me. Need team to expect one less kill.
You need to locate a bomb.
I went up there, I mean, players like what they like, and you don't deviate from it.
Drone has located a bomb.
So you got all the crafting stations up to electric in your Icarus base, Sim? Why are you gonna peek again? Like, you just lost your drone. Oh, these guys, man. There's a teammate over here. Wow. I mean, I say we go for it. I think we've got a really good perimeter set up. I mean, I love my Claymore, but do we not have any hard breach to get through this wall? Nope. We gotta do everything ourselves.
The diffuser has been secured.
Like, well, you know, like my teammate could be doing anything besides like sitting in the back line. I mean, I'm glad that we got the. I was just wondering if you got all the electric
One op 4 remaining.
crafting stations. electric masonry bench, electric textile bench. Electric. Well, you got the electric furnace. It's the first one you get. Man, give me the diffuser. That was unfortunate that there's a cap can on that door. Because I stepped through it, I had 6 health loss, but it's like barely anything. So, all they had to do was poke me with a toothpick and I was gonna die. Yeah, those are nice. Yeah, those are awesome.
You need to locate a bomb.
Yeah, I mean those change everything. So like, especially in the open worlds, like it just makes it so much easier. You don't have to like sit there and like wait. You can. Don't get me wrong with like the other ones were decent too, but I mean it's just so fast. It's basically instantly filled. Thatcher.
Insertion in 10 seconds.
They already won basement. No, they didn't.
Advise your drone has located a bomb. 5 seconds before
These
insertion.
people are annoying.
You've located a bomb.
Look, you want top frag to play the kit. Let's get over here and do it. Since when is there a giant X on the wall? See, this guy's got a better idea. He's already got a bandit down. Meaning you have to do the other side. You still didn't get it up? Why couldn't you guys both put your device on both sides of it? Like, we got 2 hard breaches. You gonna do anything? Great. I don't know. Like, y'all, this team just sucks. There's X's all over this place now. Yeah, they hit him with 1 bullet. This team is like, they're like I have more kills than my entire team combined. What in the world? That was so bad. So the other difficulty with the going to bed earlier is trying to figure out if I can still do the streams or when I would do the streams. I mean, like right now my week is super busy. Like Monday nights I have strikes and raids, Tuesdays and Thursdays family Bible study. Wednesday is church. So like Monday through Thursday, like my evenings are pretty tight. Like I wish the kids would get to bed sooner. I don't. They're become quite difficult to have in bed on time. But even still, if they were, like, definitely wouldn't happen on Tuesday. I don't know. Nah. I just don't think any nights, any of those nights really work for it anymore. That's why I'm on streaming now. Might just have to be a Sunday thing. Although I do like the idea of getting a Bluetooth webcam and then letting you guys in on our family game nights or whatever. Especially if we streamed on Facebook to family and friends or whatever. And wait, this must be a 3-stack. Am I with the same people again? I don't know. Cause we do family game night on Saturday night, so I could stream that to Facebook or whatever. That's it can be a little hectic though. Your second oldest has very little filter about being way overly stimulated. Honestly, we should probably try to do a diet that cuts sugar out of her diet and see if a few weeks of that helps her out. Just like always trying to be bouncing off the walls and stuff.
Need to locate a bomb.
Just doesn't seem to process being chill.
Advise your drone has located a bomb.
So me and Rob had been setting up electric radars and then running wire like
10
halfway across the map to these electric radars so you could just turn them on remotely
insertion
to
in 5
scan for exotics. So you don't even have to like go out to do the scanning anymore. You just have multiple radars scan at once and then just go for the... Oh, this has gotta be a good... Just hope they don't jump out at me. So what else is stopping us here? Like, what's the... It's just taking... Why is that guy pinging the castle wall? Dude, that Echo drone is a huge win.
The diffuser is no longer in your possession. 4 last stop standing. Op 4 eliminated.
He should have had me. I mean, the breaking of the board should have been an audio cue for him to know that he's going up on someone. He should have been looking down sight. That was a freebie. I mean, I would go fuse if they're not gonna... They're just gonna castle but not put any gadget on it. Rob was on Icarus just now.
You need to locate a bomb.
We did 2 missions earlier. On Icarus on Styx. Yeah, took a little bit longer than I thought they would because that device for mission doesn't reach far enough, but someone's already on their cams?
10 seconds.
Huh.
Insertion in
I
5
know
seconds.
some people do to try to get your kits early, but yeah, someone's bouncing on their cams. I mean, we should definitely just go standard and jump through that window and smoke it up. I doubt they want castle again because it failed so miserably.
Online and active.
Everyone should be over in that window, shooting through it.
One friendly operator remaining.
Don't peek. This is not the time to peek. This is scrub peeking. PhD in failing. PhD in failing. You have to let the time go up. I even put spikes on our side of the window, so if they were jumping out the window, they were going to take damage from the spikes. Right. That was a freebie, dude. That was a freebie. We're just going to have to go fragtastic. Alright, we are going to go construction site, fuse. We're going to hope that they're not there. Yeah, this will be my last game, and then I'll have to jump off.
You need to locate a bomb.
I wonder if they went basement.
Drone has located a bomb.
What I want to do is I want to rush. Oh gosh, heck no.
Insertion in 5 seconds.
I'm not going through Goyo. Forget that.
Make your way to its location and defuse it.
I got time for that. Oh, Caveira. Like, what did we ban? What kits did we ban? We banned Blackbeard. Like, our team just doesn't like shields. Yet we're gonna let them have Cav. What in the world, bro? Dude, these two matches have kind of sucked, man. My team, like, is struggling with pulling its weight. At least I'm not, like, getting all the frags this time. He dies to a guy that got rezzed by Doc. Oh man.
Protect the bombs.
I've also kind of been struggling with my reading schedule. So trying to figure out, like, what exactly I want to be reading when.
10 seconds left. 5 seconds left.
The stinking frost mat's not making it easy for me to do what I wanted to do. Why am I not surprised? Well, no. Let's do this side. This is that window everyone likes to jump in.
Op 4 has located a bomb.
This guy went Cav because the other guy was playing Cav. Look at the uphill battle I'm having to fight right now. 2v5. My teammate's already downed. Like, my team is non-existent. Non-existent. Apps, that was, I mean, you're better at playing with bots. I'm just saying something. Absolutely. Cannot believe how bad that was. Like, people just don't. I wish more people set up, like, set up their stuff in a way to, like, hold a certain, like, you know, like, I set my stuff up to kind of, like, defend a certain side of the objective,
Secure the area.
right?
The bombs
I just
protected.
I don't think people are trying to take ownership over, like, part of the site, you know what I mean? They just put their stuff, like, randomly and then run, like, somewhere else.
Be advised, Op 4 has found a bomb.
And put my stuff upstairs.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds to insertion. Op 4 has located a bomb. Get ready to engage.
What's her name was stealing gadgets, so she might take my Capcan traps. thought I had nitro on this guy. Why that frost trap goes off, but Frost is nowhere near it to respawn to take out the person. Like, they don't kill people anymore. Like, you legitimately have to go and finish them off now. I mean, at least they're on site this time. Oh, I got a kill. Let's go. An assist. Freezer. West side of objective. Double Claymore on the flank. Let them waste time. See, when, like, the thing is, it's like, just let them burn as much time as they want. Like, 35 seconds left and they got 3 people to deal with. Like, you know they're gonna burn at least 15 seconds in the first guy, 15 seconds in the next guy. They're left with 5 seconds and 1 guy left. Like, they're not gonna be able to play it. Like, just sit back and chill. You're gonna play Frost, but you're not actually going Cav. Ooh. I love the Ela Thorn combo, but Ela never puts her stuff where Thorn's good. Let's put these on the Frost traps. Since he doesn't want to watch his traps.
Secure the bombs.
Cav is a horrible pick for the site. Absolutely horrible pick. Like, the only place to remotely even roam is upstairs above me right now, and you don't even get any. There's no running once you're found. Like, where did Frost put her traps? Who knows? Probably the worst. Actually, that's not bad.
5 seconds left.
I think this is some of the worst spots.
Eye out for Op 4 attempting to defuse your bombs. Op 4 found a bomb. You must defend it.
Actually, decent spots on her part. Just hoping to find a third Frost trap so I can. Okay, well, I have not completely thrown the round, so I give them the props. Now I'll play Anchor. Let the traps do the work. Why did they just steal? He's poking a hole right here. His teammate killed him.
Op 4 remaining.
Amazing. 6v4 apparently. Oh, these cams are good.
One friendly remaining.
Dang it, bro. Less than a minute. Let's just hide. Let's go watch this. Let's go watch this dumpster fail. Really? To the right. The opening's to the right. Why are we peeking through the... This is like hoping you pick the right hole in the Swiss cheese. You know what I mean? You know he's got to come through over there. Why wouldn't you look for the guaranteed spot and hide yourself from the Swiss cheese? Like, why was he even looking in the direction? That seems like bad information. Man, I hope work tomorrow's pretty chill. And supporting frost traps. Frost traps are good, but they're not... I don't know. I need to switch to someone who's not Gadget, because what's her name keeps stealing her gadgets.
Secure the area. Keep the bombs protected.
I'm probably just gonna defend Freezer. Nah, that's too obvious. That works.
Down to 10 seconds. Down to 5 seconds. Bomb location secure.
Alright, I'm gonna go for some easy, well, not some easy, but early kills. By being somewhere they don't expect me to be. Okay, they did not spawn over here. Alright, I'm just gonna go back to Freezer Holden. Because that's where they played late game. It was Freezer last time.
Op 4 has located a bomb.
Capital. Oh, they're coming from upstairs. That Dokkaebi though, that is a good call. Man. The one time to be called by Dokkaebi. That's alright. She's gonna try to... Oh, they got frost traps on the thorns too? We got tons of traps on that freezer hallway. He's still up. He was still up there. He's gonna die to my thorn. I'm gonna be mad. Yeah, if Penta dies, then it's gonna be the other team that has action on it, but Penta's not dying, so. He's running through the first floor like 2v2, you're nowhere near sight. This guy barely knows where he's going. Claymore! Are you... Oh my gosh, dude.
Down to 15 seconds. Op 4 last stop.
What am I witnessing right now? How do you run through 2 claymores and live? Explain to me. How do you run through 2 claymores and live? I genuinely do not understand how that guy ran through 2 claymores. I thought they were one-shot kills. Ugh. Man.
We need to locate a bomb.
We're barely in the lead right now. Because we got an extra defense round.
Advise the drone has located a bomb. 10 seconds before insertion. 5 seconds.
Not a single drone is alive.
Located a bomb. Make your way to
This PhD guy doesn't even know where. Oh my gosh, dude. What a disaster.
drop the diffuser. The diffuser has been secured. The diffuser is no longer in your possession. The diffuser is now.
He's got a controller? What in the world am I watching right now? This whole team, dude. He already moved that drone. Wow. Is she gonna hit my claymore? Is she gonna rush through and hit that claymore?
Op 4 eliminated all friendlies.
Nope. Darn. Yeah, we gotta go the whole stinking game. Of course we're on defense. Second floor. Yeah. Mm.
Secure the area. Keep the bombs protected.
Wall reinforced.
They wanted to come through here, so let's not let them come through here.
Wall done.
Yay, we got them all. Last time we left one.
5 seconds. You must protect your bombs from being defused by Op 4. Bomb has been located by Op 4.
At least when we get this one, I'll be MVP. Teammate was shooting at me.
Hostiles eliminated.
Goodness gracious. Savage. This guy called him trash can. Like, really? Here you go. I might as well spend these. So I don't think I'll play this again. So I might as well get all these points spent. How many? 1, 2. Should I break through these? These are something like this. I think I get 1 or 2 of these. Premium. 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sure. But I don't know. Not sure. I don't know. Maybe one of those things where I need to put streaming to the side and just focus in on something else for the year or whatever. Especially with working now, I just don't have like a bunch of free time, and I really should take advantage of only doing the internship and the work. I don't know. We'll see. I don't have any plans for doing streaming, and I'm not really sure, like, if I did choose to randomly do a stream, like, how to really notify everybody. I think the Discord's the stream's Discord's probably the best bet, but I don't know that people are. I could pay. But anyway, I'm glad the few of you did stop by, hang out and chat, and we thought about some political issues and about the leadership and all that. So I will talk to you guys probably tomorrow with the raids and strikes. I guess we're in what, wing 7 or something? Or is it wing 6? No, we did wing 6, so it'd be wing 7. Yeah. Yeah, whatever. Good night, y'all.